Hey, Scott, Simbuchi here over at Sales Qualia. I'm usually outside of Phil's Coffee. Today I'm outside of Cloud Forest Cafe, my second, maybe 1A, 1B coffee shop in Davis, California. So listen, I was just in there thinking about some decisions I've made recently, and I wanted to share some of that thinking that I made because I think it might be helpful to you as you're trying to figure out mostly how to simplify your life, how to simplify the work that you're doing every day. So the backdrop for this begins with a book I've read, and I've mentioned a couple different times, called Essentialism by Greg McKeown. And he references this idea of like making one decision that makes 1,000 for you. So one decision resolves and removes the ability, the necessity, I should say, the necessity to make 1,000 decisions or 100 decisions. And so this came up in a conversation I had with Stein, who was on our podcast recently, and we had talked about decision-making frameworks. And so when I think about the way to use decisions, making one decision to save 1,000, I was thinking of it in sort of two ways. So there's decisions we can make to stop doing something, and there's decisions we can make to start doing something. So as an example, one of one decision that saves 100 or saves 1,000, and I mentioned this in the podcast with Zach, was my decision back in early November for the 3 months that I'm training for a race I've got coming up. I've got a 100-mile ultramarathon coming up. 100-mile ultramarathon. Sounds crazy even to me who have done those before. It's coming up first week of February down in New Zealand, and what I decided back in November is that as a means to help me stay focused in the training, I just decided I was just going to skip alcohol for those 3 months. It wasn't like a permanent decision to say, like, I'm giving up drinking. I don't have a drinking problem. When I have a beer or two, like that's the most I'll ever sit down and have on a Friday or Saturday. But Fridays and Saturdays are days that I want to get good sleep because the weekends are when I have an opportunity to do really intense training for these races. So, just the one decision to say, look, I'm not going to drink any alcohol for these next 3 months leading up to the race makes it really, really easy. Now it's hard because it was Thanksgiving and Christmas and parties and New Year's Eve and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, that one decision absolved me from having to decide before Thanksgiving, was I going to have wine with dinner? Or around Christmas, was I going to have some eggnog and rum? Or New Year's Eve, was I going to have a beer or two or a cocktail? It was just one decision absolved me from making a lot of other decisions down the road. So that's an example of stopping, making decisions to stop something. Another example that a decision that I made this week. So when at the time that I'm doing this video, it's now Super Bowl time. There's 2 weeks of pre-Super Bowl stuff, and the Super Bowl is coming up, and it's a big event, and I enjoy the Super Bowl just as much as anybody else. But I'm actually going to be traveling. I'm going to be in New Zealand at the exact time of the Super Bowl. And I'm going to be teaching a workshop at the exact time that the Super Bowl is happening. So I can't even watch the game. And so one of the things I decided as a way to remove distractions, I've got 2 weeks left before getting on a plane and getting there. I've got to prep for this workshop. I've got final training. I've got final trip preparation for this trip, all that other stuff. I know myself that if I go to ESPN.com or SI.com, it's easy for me to start reading articles about the Super Bowl, watching a couple short videos, all of that stuff. So I just decided I was going to go on a complete diet. No Super Bowl stuff. I'm not reading anything, any articles, not watching any news, not listening to the radio, nothing related to Super Bowl because I don't want that distraction in my life. So again, it's one decision that saves me 100 down the road. So if I'm taking a break from work, I don't go to ESPN and check out the articles about what's going on in the Super Bowl because frankly, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. So those are two examples of stopping stuff. Two examples of starting stuff. One decision to save 1,000. One of the things I decided to do is drink more water. So I've just been every single day, I've got this canister. I fill it up, and if I fill it up 3 times and I drink that from top to bottom, at the end of the day, I will have drank enough water that I want to drink, a couple liters worth of water, in order to make sure that I've got the right, amount of hydration in the weeks leading up to this race. So it's one decision that I just know if I fill this bottle up 3 times and I drink the whole thing, then I'm good. I don't have to worry about every single meal or every single break. Am I getting enough water? So that's something, a really, really simple habit. As an example, one decision saves 100. So what does all this have to do with startups? What does all this have to do with selling? Well, when I think about, the work that you're doing every single day, there are some things, there are certain decisions you could make, certain decisions to stop doing some things and start doing other things that would save you a lot of other trouble down the road. So as an example of something you could stop doing is, a simple habit of if you're spending time on Facebook or Instagram, Like one thing you could do is say, look, I'm not looking at Facebook or Instagram at all during the week, Monday through Friday. I will only look at Facebook and Instagram on the weekends, or choose a certain time block. Every Sunday morning from 9 to 10, that's my Instagram time, and that's it. So stop doing that, will remove that distraction and give you more time throughout the course of your day. Another example of something you could stop doing from a selling standpoint is if you look at your sales funnel, if you look at your sales map, all the steps that you take in your sales process, oftentimes one of the big choke points in a sales process is proposals. People say, hey, this sounds cool, send me a proposal. Well, what if you look at the numbers of proposals you send relative to the people who actually buy from you based on that proposal, it's probably really, really low. So what if you made the decision, say for the next month, every time somebody asks me for a proposal, I'm not going to send the proposal. Instead, what I'm going to do is say, look, instead of us sending a proposal, why don't we sit down and build an implementation plan together? And when we do that, then we'll be 100% clear of the work that we need to do in order to see whether or not this is the right fit, our product with your company. So that's an example of taking one step to stop doing proposals and instead doing something else and adhering to that, and then seeing fundamentally, how does that change your sales process? Something simple, right? One last thing that you could start doing, one decision that saves 1,000, is to say, look, every single week, I'm going to do a 10 or 15 minute one-on-one with every person on my team. So if you're a founder, CEO, if you're a sales manager, make sure instead of saying, well, I'll do some one-on-ones as we need it, or I'll schedule them in if we have time. What if you made the decision and listed all the people on your team in a spreadsheet and put a checkbox next to every single person after you've had that one-on-one, and refuse to let yourself move forward with the week, finish the week until you've completed all of those one-on-ones? How would that change fundamentally your relationship with your team, the amount of information you're getting from them, your ability to help them solve problems, identify where they're stuck, where they need help, get new ideas from them? So this one decision, if you put that as the priority, aside from the other things you might be spending time that isn't as valuable, you just made that the decision to start doing these one-on-ones every single week with every team member and do that for a month. How would that change things, right? So it's one decision to save 1,000 or save 100, deciding when and who to do a one-on-one with. You just say, look, every Friday we're going to do 15 minutes one-on-one with every person on the team. So it's just this is not a new idea. I know many of you might have heard this before in different forms and fashion. I'm not creating this concept of one decision to save 100. I learned it from Greg McKeown's book, Essentialism. I've heard of other people making these kinds of decisions, and I've just started deploying it for myself over the last couple months, and I'm finding that it's just mentally freeing. It's easier to not worry about, am I going to have a glass of wine? It's easier to not have to worry about the distraction of Super Bowl articles. It's easy for me to say, look, every single day I'm going to drink these 3 bottles of water. These are easy decisions to and really, really clear with a definite way of measuring. It's a yes or no. It's not like a little bit. There's no gray area. It's like a yes or no. I'm going to stop doing this. I'm going to start doing that. And then seeing how it affects how things are going for you. So look, that's just some thoughts I've had, some things that have been working for me, and I want to share with you. So, think about, whether it's personal, professional, relationship, like what is one decision you could make for now? It doesn't have to be permanent or forever. What's one decision you can make now that might save you 100 down the road over the next couple of weeks? Make that decision. Give it a try, right? Try it for 4 weeks. Try it for a month. Try it for next month. Whatever it is, give yourself your own personal accountability around this one decision, and see if that one decision, in fact, frees you up mentally to work on other things that are way more important. So, all right, that's it for now. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Scott Simbucci, Sales Qualia, signing off.